Hey, you guys. I hope you all are doing well. See, I don't forgot your name already. Anyway, I do this, y'all know. Anyway, thank you so much,
Pele, Pele.
Pele, Pele, Pele. Thank you, Pele, for coming on our channel. I appreciate you and your time, and we are excited to hear from you.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me,
Goddess of
Vanessa.
the gut, and I heard you talk a lot about it, so I'm excited to learn. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. I feel honored. I have had such a story that has changed my life over the last 21 years. So to be able to share it and help others this way, it's just kind of a passion for me.
Yes, yes, that's great, great. So I like to start out by asking, how was your eating habits growing up as a child?
Well, I was growing up all on mainly animal processed foods, and I grew up on cow's milk first. And there was cheese in the diet very early, butter, and there was a lot of flesh, especially chicken. That's one thing I remembered eating every day, a chicken leg. As a little girl, maybe between the ages of 3, I can remember that starting between 3 because I lived with my grandmother at age 3, and she raised me till I was 11. And between those 8 years, I just remember chicken legs being a very prominent part of my diet, as well as white rice and a lot of milk and cheese, cereal, frosted flakes, sugar pops, raisin bran. Those are all my favorites. Kellogg's, all these different brands, anything with a sweet tooth. Uh, There was so many fruity pebbles, cocoa pebbles. I can just think of them now. Oh, those were good old days. But I was good old and sick.
uh-huh.
I grew up a very, I don't want to say sickly, but I was on medication quite often. I remember taking antibiotics from a very young age. I remember having constant runny nose, constant mucus, and so the diet had a lot to do with it. But nevertheless, the foods I ate, like I said, a lot of flesh, dairy, grains, because I did breads as well as rice and pasta. Oh my goodness, the Chef Boyardee, canned foods, and the ramen noodles. Oh yeah, those were very common in my diet. And we did actually some soy, also some tofu. And so this is from, I'm 52, so I would say the first 11 years of my life, I was really given a lot of processed and cooked food.
Mhm.
Fruit, I can only remember a sparing apple, a sparing banana, a sparing orange. It was sparing. It
Mhm.
wasn't even, and vegetables, it was always cooked broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots cooked. I hated it. I just remember never enjoying cooked vegetables. I would rather a raw carrot or something raw and crunchy. Anyway,
Mhm.
naturally, I would instinctually eat that. Lettuce, I loved. Oh, yeah, that's one thing I did eat every day. I remember going home from school and always running into the fridge, taking out iceberg lettuce, taking off 3 and 4 lettuce leaves,
Mhm.
chopping it up, tearing it up, putting it in a bowl, getting the French dressing,
Mhm.
and pouring it all over. That was my delight. I remember that. Wow, I forgot that. Thank you for bringing me back. And yeah, that was something probably that was saving my life
Mhm.
because I was just highly constipated. That's my biggest memory since I was a little girl was how hard it was to poop, you
Mhm.
know? So let me
Wow,
take a breath.
that you reminded me of a lot of things that I ate back in the days, and wow, it was a crazy ride, but yeah, it was, tasty.
Now that you got me thinking, there was cakes, there was ice cream, and there were popsicles, a lot of frozen snacks, a lot of dyes, you know. There
Mhm.
were a lot of Doritos and potato chips.
Mhm.
Way back then, that was my biggest addiction. And there was a lot of candy.
Mhm.
Now in later chewing gum, juicy fruit, spearmint, big red. Oh my God, bubblicious. Oh
Mm-hmm.
my goodness. And then there was a lot of chocolate bars,
Mm-hmm.
Snickers, Twix, all of those things. Three Musketeers, Butterfingers, whatchamacallits, like,
Mm-hmm.
and donuts. Oh my God, glazed donuts, filled.
Yes, you sound like you talking
Wow.
about me now. All this stuff is
You asked.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
There was a lot of jerk. What is it? The beef jerky, Slim Jim.
mm-hmm.
I remember eating Slim Jims like daily, little mini ones every day. That was my snack. Cheese and crackers. Oh my
Oh,
God, there were so many processed foods as a kid. I
yeah.
could go on, but I think you guys got the gist of it. I ate pretty much like whatever there was processed foods out there,
Mm-hmm.
and nuts, a lot of nuts, and a lot of processed nuts, heated, okay, so roasted nuts,
Mm-hmm.
salty nuts, sugary, honey crusted, chocolate crusted nuts, always flavorful nuts. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of constipating foods in the diet, and we don't realize how constipating nuts really are.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a certain amount we should eat, which I'll get into, if any at all, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow, a journey. And now I would like to know, how did you get on this path of healing? Um, I like to use these different terms that people can identify with, raw vegan, plant based, um, vegan. Like, how did you start out? Did you start out being a raw foodist, fruitarian? How did that journey begin, and why?
So when I was 29, I had my daughter and I was married, and we we got a divorce. And at the time, she was only 1 year old, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I just know that I was by that time I was not feeling well. I was constantly taking medication, over the counter and prescription. I had suffered with always tonsillitis, gastroenteritis, colds, flu symptoms. I had lumps, lymphatic lumps under my armpits, always coming and going, and my groin coming and going. I had lumps in my breast that were surgically removed twice between the ages of 19 and 24. And I had a uterine fibroid, and there were hemorrhaging and bleeding, heavy bleeding during periods. I had the herpes flare ups constantly in my nose and my eyes and private parts. It was rampant in the body, and I started to well, when I was in Jamaica going through a divorce, I got a massage there, and the lady gave me such a terrible massage. And I thought, wow, if this lady can give a massage, I know I can do massages because she, she was so bad. I was like, she's been doing this for how long? 20 years? Really? Like, I know I can do this. So I decided to come back to Florida from Jamaica. I got the massage in Jamaica. I came back to Florida and got into the massage school. And there, my massage teacher and I got close because I would tell her about what I was feeling in my body. Physically, we had to give massages. You had to feel good to give a massage. You don't want to feel sickly. You don't want to feel nauseous. You don't want to have a headache. You are actually transferring that kind of energy to your client. So
Mhm.
you want to feel good. And I wasn't feeling good ever during massage school. So in the beginning, the first 2 months, she took me under her fold and she started giving me tips here and there. And I was drinking alcohol every night so I could go to sleep. And I was using caffeine every morning so I could wake up. And I was eating cooked food all day long. So, and everything was a snack, and nothing was raw, nothing was fruit. And so she was the one who got me into understanding about the foods. But first, she took me into her yoga studio because she taught yoga also, and I started to do the yoga with her. And then while I was doing yoga, I was very nauseous. I was very sick. I was always coughing. There was always yellow and green phlegm coming up. I could never go upside down or and do inversions without having breathing difficulties, headache, nausea. Something was always wrong, dizzy spells. So she connected that to my diet and then to my gut. And she was also a colonic irrigator. So she gave me my first colonic, and it was the most painful, horrific thing I'd ever done. I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's terrible and ill, And it hurt. It hurt me so much because I was so backed up, and I was slim, but it doesn't matter. You can be the skinniest person. Your stomach can hold so much in these intestines, and it gets compressed. Your food gets compressed, and over years, it got compressed for me. And so my bowel movements were happening every 4 to 5 days. They were very few. They were very small portions, dark in color, very nugget like. And the odor was horrendous, and it would just leave an odor in the whole house. Like you would know. When I went, I didn't have to tell you. Like it was, so that just shows you how toxic my body was. And so she said, it's time to, address what you're putting into your body. And so you need to eat food with life because you've been eating a lot of dead food. So that's why you're starting to die. You're starting to feel like death and you're suffering. Suffering leads to death. And not that we all are, no, anyone's going to live forever. But I think while we're alive, we can be sufferation free. And that's what I've come to realize over the last 20 years. And it's actually been 21 years. I'm 52 now. And she taught me to eat live food, food that has been fed the sun, the rain, has been grown from the earth, where it can absorb the minerals from the earth and it goes into the plants, and the salts and the water that gets absorbed into the plant is now organic. It's now uh, synthesized into something that is edible and absorbable to us. So that's why when we eat a whole raw fruit, it has all the nutrients that we need. And I sincerely believe in the colors of the rainbow, and that the seven colors are a reminder to me to eat seven fruits in the colors of the rainbow daily in order to synthesize all the necessary nutrients that I need to have a strong, healthy body so that I can sleep well at night, so that I can wake up with vibrancy the next day and have an arm's length, odor free bowel movement on rising before consuming water, before eating anything, before walking out of my bedroom, out of the bathroom. It should be the first thing that we do. And when that is done, then you're able to eat a little bit more freely through the day, but keeping it still as close to nature as possible, as raw as possible. I am not 100% raw at the moment. For the past 20 years, I kind of keep at about an 80% raw diet, and it's usually 80% fruit. I still, however, will eat some things that are not fruit and some things that are not raw, and I'm okay with that. As long as my bowels are moving well, I think chewing is essential. That's the first line of digestion. So once though we are healed, I think we can consider eating things that maybe once were hurting us, we can have in tiny, tiny portions and eating it mindfully and always, being grateful and thankful and praying that we have this food for whatever it is that we're eating. But excuse me, eating uh, the fruit is what I feel is giving me medicine. It is giving me hydration. It is giving me nutrition. It's giving me energy. It is literally helping me to see clearly my goals for my life. It helps me to focus. It helps me to go in the direction of good. It helps me to stay on the narrow path, on this little path here, and work through the obstacles. Let's show them. Work through the obstacles of life. Right, that's the path, guys. There's an obstacle, and we have to work our way through it. Don't keep getting to the obstacle and then turning around and going the other way. You'll never get to the end. We just keep bumping into the obstacle. Breathe through it, right? So with diet change, that is what I found hard. So in the beginning, I was not really sure what my teacher really meant when she was telling me about the diet change. And so I stopped eating a lot of things. First, it was dairy.
Mhm.
And that, for me, I realized the connection with dairy and mucus.
Mhm.
And for me, I had suffered with mucus all of my life. So that I could let that go easily. And I always thought about the fact that these animals' milk is really not produced for our consumption, although we are able to eat it. It
Mhm.
is not made for us. It is made for their babies, right? So
Mhm.
if
Yes.
we just go back down to that simplicity and rationale, then sometimes it makes it easier for someone to say, okay, let me let this go. It's not meant for me. Eat what is meant for our consumption, for humans.
Mhm.
So then we look at hunters and hunter gatherers back in caveman days. And I thought, if in fact there were winters like what we have nowadays, which I find that are forced winters, they're man-made winters, and that's a whole other topic. But I don't know necessarily that we're always able to hunt and catch prey,
Mhm.
feed our families and our tribes. And even if we did back then, the families and tribes are only getting such a small amount of food
Mhm.
because this many animal, how many people are in the tribe, how many people are in the family,
Mhm.
So I feel like, and there were no fridges, so they're eating fresh. They're eating it right away. It's a little different.
Mhm.
But I look at that and I say to myself right here and now, am I going out there to hunt? Am I the one who is fishing? Am I the one who is killing? Am I the one who is going for this, you know,
Mhm.
toxic, I'm sorry, not it can be toxic, but this animal, for this animal, am I the one who's going for the food? And then am I going to cut it open? Am I going to, take out the guts? Am I going to clean it? And then am I going to prepare it and cook it, go through every single thing? Because really and truly, that is what makes it, I think, okay. And I only say that if there was no other choice. Like, that's the last thing
Mhm.
that we should be reaching for, is some flesh. It should be the last thing on our plate. It should be the smallest portion or not at all. And
Mhm.
for those who still eat this kind, flesh, because I know for me, like I said in the beginning, I was still eating chicken. That was the last thing I gave up because all those years after living with my grandmother, went to live with my mom, and we ate pork, beef, fish, shrimp, lobster, crab, birds, rabbits, goats.
Mhm.
Okay, you know, we had nine, maybe 10. I could probably name more if I thought about it. All these different types of animals. And we hunted them. We raised them, some of these things. We did the work.
Mhm.
But we also suffered. Our entire family suffered with constant colds, constant fevers, constant flu symptoms, constant constipation, heart issues, high blood pressure, low blood pressure, obesity, laziness. Laziness is caused by some of this diet,
Mhm.
and the inability to want to work. Like, people who don't want to work, there are people like that. I know them. I know them personally. And you know, when you think that someone should be handing down something to you constantly, there's something wrong with that. Nobody is supposed to be handed to anything. You need to earn what you get. And I mean, I think there are certain things we're born to have, life, freedom, certain things like this.
Yes.
But I just feel like our mental ability can improve or deplete based on what we eat.
Mhm.
Brain fog is another thing. Depression and suicide. I used to have depression. I used to have suicidal thoughts. I,
Mhm.
I didn't know how to deal with stress.
Mhm.
Those things, when we eat death, we're eating the animal's karma, we're eating their energy, their chemical as well. Because think about it for a moment. When an animal knows it's being killed, it's being slaughtered, which most of the time they know it because they can hear the cries of the other animals or see
Mhm.
the fight that somebody else is going through, that they're about to go into, or that they are now in. The
Mhm.
fight on the hook, you know, the fight getting your head in this thing to be chopped off.
Mm.
I mean, it's really sad. And I tell you, it does hurt to know that this is what is happening with the animals. But inhumane,
Yeah.
inanimate, the word is the wrong word. The poor animals are going through so much. So I just see in my family how much cancer, diabetes,
Mhm.
heart disease people have. And I've seen for my own self that I had, and I believe I had colon cancer by the time I was 27. Right before I'd gotten pregnant, I had maybe a whole year of hemorrhaging and bleeding anally. And it was definitely related to the gut and my impaction in the bowels. I was constantly nauseous, and I really was always taking medication. So I just kept medicating every single day, thinking that was fine. I would just work my way through the day and get home and go to sleep. And then I can't get out of bed when I woke up after 10 hours of sleeping. Still felt exhausted and drained. So I was killing my adrenals because I was taking all these suppressants,
Mhm.
you know. So it's such a, the memory is so kind of upsetting because I went through a lot physically, and I always thought I was doing the right thing, medicating myself. I
Mhm.
went to doctors. I'd been seeing doctors. I'd done surgeries. I'd removed my a couple lumps out of my breast, and they even came back after the surgeries. And I just didn't bother going back again.
Mhm.
So when my teacher told me about the diet change, I'll go back there. We went into this, taking out the dairy, taking out the meat, and finally the chicken was the last thing. And then I was on rice and beans for a while, and slowly got off of the cooked foods altogether and decided that I was only going to eat foods that were growing, because if I was a caveman, maybe that would be the only thing that I would have to eat.
Mhm.
So I put myself back into that time,
Mhm.
but not to say that I'm going to be the hunter. So I let the hunting go and I let the heated foods go. I let the cooking go. I used to have a thought that fire gives new life to dead meat. And
Mhm.
although that may be true in the sense that we can eat it, it doesn't mean it gives us life. And
Right.
that's what I realized. And I realized physically in my body that when I do eat meat, or I have eaten meat,
Mhm.
and there are times, guys, I'm not 100% vegan. Just for the record, I mean, I will have moments where I'll have something
Mhm.
because that's what happens to be there, and I will pick and have a little bit of bite of something.
Mhm.
I will not, however, look for it. It won't be my first line of food. It will never be something I think is healthy for me. It's not something, I mean, we eat things all the time that is
Mhm.
simply not healthy, but we're told it is healthy.
Right.
Like a lot of these cooked vegetables we're told is healthy.
Mhm.
And a lot of these fermented vegetables were told is healthy. And a lot of these mushrooms were told is healthy. And a lot of the soy were told is healthy. And a lot of the nuts were told is healthy. And a lot of the seeds were told is healthy. And a lot of the grains were told is healthy.
Mhm.
So if we have a handle on eliminating the things that are really not healthy, then we can nitpick at it if we choose. But the majority of your diet needs to be real, really healthy food, which is really foods that grow from the earth, that are raw, that are fresh, that are organic, that are ripe, that have not been sprayed on, that have been cleaned properly, or ripened the right way, and
Mhm.
not force ripened with an injection, which is what is happening with a lot of our fruits.
Yeah.
You got to get to know your supplier.
Mhm.
So after I got rid of the dairy and the meats and cheese and the grains, and I was on my fruit, I was on fruits for only for 10 months straight.
Mhm.
I didn't eat anything else. At the time, I had a 2-year-old daughter, and she, I, she adapted the diet. She was, she was a great fruitarian. It was easy because at 10 months old, she started eating fruits. That's when I first started giving it to her.
Mhm.
And but at 2, she went on to this high fruit diet with me, and it was challenging for her because when she went to her father's house, because we're divorced, her father would feed her other things,
Mhm.
and she'd get sick. Her stomach would hurt, or she would throw up. She'd come back and have fever, headaches, and we, at the time, I didn't realize how impactful that was. What was causing her to be sick, and I didn't realize it back then. But now, after hindsight, thinking about all the things that have happened in the past and how when we get sick, we have caused it.
Yeah.
We say it's COVID. We say it's A virus, just say it's something, somebody sneezed, we said it's our kid brought it to us, and we say it's our parents because it's DNA. Guys, take responsibility.
Yeah.
Eat, you know, eat for your health first. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we're not eating for our health, and we are mostly eating to fill a gap of emptiness, loneliness, comfort. We want comfort. We want things that taste good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of healthy food that tastes good, but our tongues are not in a healthy state
Mm-hmm.
because they've been so, eating so much bad stuff for so
Yeah.
many years. And now your tongue is starting to eat something healthy, and it's like, I need salt, I need sugar, I need milk, I need some dressing and some seasonings.
Mm-hmm.
We have to. I remember coming off of all flesh and all. I remember those 10 months being my healthiest. I mean, mind you, I want to say that in the beginning of those 10 months before I became a whole, that 10-month 100% fruit, I was sick for about 2 weeks. And I went to a naturopath back then, and they gave me some sublingual tablets to take, and they couldn't give me a reason for why I was sick. So I took them not thinking about whether it was working or not. I just kept eating my fruit. I did not go to any other kind of doctor. I did not go. Oh, I did go to a laboratory to get my blood tested. I wanted to know what the pH was. They wouldn't tell me. They said I can't tell you that. I'm like,
Wow.
goodbye, bye. Forget it. I don't need you to take my blood then. That's all I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just know that when I went through that sickness back then, I thought I caught it. I was like, I thought I caught this, and why am I sick? And I've been inside, and I haven't been around anybody sick, but so how could this happen? Did it blow in the air? you know? But then I met Dr. Morris,
Oh.
Dr. Robert Morris, and I had met him like 8 years after, and maybe 8 to 10 years after. And I asked him, I listened to all of his teachings, and I started to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And really, what was going on was that I was having 2 weeks of a healing crisis because all of the fruit that I was consuming was helping my body remove excess lymph, excess mucus, clear blockages,
Mm-hmm.
get my blood pressure to the right, stabilize health,
Mm-hmm.
and clean my blood. And these things hurt. Kill parasites, all the parasites, all the parasites. I can't, you know what? Because I was eating that way prior, all these years prior, I was eating so much dairy, so much flesh, that the body is filled with parasitic, you know,
Mm-hmm.
bodies. There are parasites living within us, and mucus is a parasite, guys. Mucus eats acid, so it's living on us.
Mm-hmm.
And candida and yeast, those things are parasites also. When
Mm-hmm.
your body is eliminating it, it's actually good.
Mm-hmm.
So if we are having a yeast infection, for example, the ladies who end up having a yeast infection, your body's trying to save you.
Yeah.
Your body's trying to get rid of the yeast that you have been consuming.
Mm-hmm.
And we get yeast in foods all the time, and we're told it has nothing to do with your yeast infection. Bread has a lot to do with your yeast infection
Mm-hmm.
and any kind of yeast filled foods. Even our, what is it? B12, the yeast, the vegan yeast,
Oh, the
tastes
vegan.
like cheese.
Oh, yes, the nutritional yeast.
Nutritional yeast, because I don't eat it. That's why I'm like, what is it called again? Um, I don't eat nutritional yeast,
Mm-hmm.
and I have had it in the past. I noticed two things that happened, and the swelling it caused in my eyes was one of them.
Oh, wow.
But I also did also have some kind of yeast response, and the response, the body is releasing yeast is a good thing, and we are suppressing it every time we take a medication
Mm-hmm.
or every time we use that metronidazole. We're suppressing, so the body holds on to the yeast.
Mm-hmm.
So the fruits, in the beginning, it can make you have a yeast infection because it's going to help your body push out and eliminate the yeast that is present there. That
Mm-hmm.
is what I've come to experience. And ever since that happened 20 years ago, I don't have any problems with yeast. Ever.
Wow.
Okay. And additionally, men have yeast infection and they aren't even aware of it. Doctors
Mm-hmm.
don't tell them that. And they have symptoms of it and they pass on some of this to us.
Mm-hmm.
There is always this intermix of our fluids. And if your diet is really good, yet you keep having yeast infections, check out your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Check out what his diet is. That's one thing I've always come to realize is that generally my diet's great. And if anything goes wrong with me, I'm like, let me look at you.
Yes.
Not always our fault, but it's usually our fault. It's usually us doing it to ourselves. Sometimes there are some things that we can cause, problems with each other's bodies.
Mhm.
But men need to go through the cleansing more so than women. I mean, we are all humans. The
Yes.
human problem. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that kind of covers the idea of what I did. So I took my time. It took a few weeks, or even maybe months, maybe 6 weeks, I think, to get off all the flesh out of my diet, and eggs also, because oh my God, I forgot to mention the eggs. I was eating eggs every day,
Mm-hmm.
every single day. I would eat an egg, even when I was doing like getting into this fruitarian lifestyle in the beginning. That's probably one of the things I let go of last, not realizing, an egg, why not? Nope, that's not made for human consumption either.
Right. Right. Yes.
So, yeah, we can eat it, but it does have an impacting effect on the colon, on the gut. It has a self-reforming odor on the gut, on the body,
Mm-hmm.
and you can smell it in your armpits. I don't have any odor right now. It's wonderful, and I've been sweating all morning. I teach
Mm-hmm.
yoga, and I sweat, and I never have an odor. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to. I used to wear Right Guard and Dove and all kinds of antiperspirants. And by the way, if you're using antiperspirants, I recommend you stop right now, because
Mm-hmm.
that is only causing more toxicity into the body. That
Mm-hmm.
chemical will enter your pores when your pores open, when you start to perspire. And it entering the body is a very hazardous problem, and it
Mm-hmm.
can actually contribute to breast cancer. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things I think also affected me, because I used so much of it, and we don't even realize the impact. I had my lumps constantly under my armpit and right near my maxillary at the top of my breast. So, and I continued using that product for many years. I only started using the crystal deodorant, which is
The salt.
a salt stone, right?
Mm-hmm.
A salt
Yes.
crystal. You wet it, and I put it on right after a shower. I don't dry my pits. I take 20 minutes. I do this exercise every day. I stretch my arm at 20 minutes, like 20 seconds, not minutes. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I count to 20. It feels so good in the arms. It feels so good to stretch your arms, because frozen shoulder is something that a lot of people experience. Bursitis. I'm a massage therapist and a yoga instructor, so I get people having shoulder issues constantly, and I really find it important to lift your arms up, open up your armpit, put your arm behind your back, put your arm up the back, and try to get your hands to touch each other. Do this as often as you can. Otherwise, you lose your mobility.
Wow.
And when we lose the mobility, we end up tearing ligaments and tendons and having lifelong pains. So, prevention is better than a cure.
Yes. Wow. I was in an accident about maybe 7 years ago, eight. And this shoulder over here, when I within 30 minutes, I was limping and like this whole side, I was the passenger. Um,
Seatbelt,
yeah, I had,
or
no,
didn't you?
no, I didn't have on the seatbelt.
Okay, because
Well,
sometimes the seatbelt can cause that too.
yes, and this shoulder, sometimes it's like I have to work it, like you're saying. Um, wow.
Yes. So what's going on with you though is that shoulder has scar tissue buildup. When we have an injury, the body's trying to protect the injury, so extra cells come there to protect it from being overstretched again or something. Because if it was an overstretching or a cell or something, did you bang it, or
Yeah,
was it just a jerk? You hit
no,
it on the
yes,
chair?
the whole door and everything came in on me.
Oh, yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
So then you have bruised. And how long ago was that?
that's about 8 years.
Wow. And you're still having the pain now.
Yeah, every now and then I'll
Every
get
now and then, it
and
flares up.
it's when I'm not stretching like I need to. Like what you're saying, you need to work it. I just was experiencing that last week. where
Yes.
it was stiff and, painful. And I would just do my stretches that I normally do.
Movement is definitely key.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Wow. And you're so fit and beautiful. I mean, you got it going on.
yes.
And we got to get into the gut. Oh my gosh, you do this thing with your gut. I mean,
Would you like me to do a demonstration?
yes, my daughter would love to see it as well. Yes. Oh my God. I don't
Uh,
know how you do it, but wow. She make
um,
yes.
I'm gonna take off my shirt. Wait, no, do I have on? No, I'm gonna do a little bit of adjusting. So the technique is called upward abdominal lock in English. It's known as Uddiyana in Sanskrit. And it basically is a way to get you to connect to your core.
Hmm.
So when standing, you can do this sitting or standing. I'm going to do it standing because of lighting. Um, all right, so because I cannot talk while I'm doing it, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do first.
Okay.
Inhale through my nose, blow forcefully out the mouth. When I blow completely out, I'm going to suction my belly in and then keep holding it in as far back toward the spine as possible. Hold it for as long as I can without breathing, and I do not inhale while doing this. So I'm on empty. And then when I need to breathe, my belly drops out, and then I inhale through the nose. So just quick demo. My hands will be on my knees. The belly will hang out.
Wow, man.
All right, so that's one. And what that does, I find what it has helped me do in the past, and if someone has a sluggish bowel movement and it's not completely released, like I said, you should have an arm's length bowel movement every day. Most of us are only having a hand's length or some
Mhm.
nuggets or maybe a forearm. And literally, if it's not, and I don't mean it has to be the size like solid. It's not supposed to be solid. It's about the quantity. And
Mhm.
it's about how much rolls out.
Mhm.
So this movement can help you create more of a bowel movement at that time on the toilet. So you can do it on the toilet. You can do it right before you go on the toilet. You can do it as soon as you wake up. Try not to do it like after you eat. And none of the belly moves we do after we eat will allow digestion to happen for at least an hour before you do something like that.
Okay.
But that exercise has helped me connect my core muscles. I could not do this right away, girls and guys. I have not been able, like when I first learned it, it took me about 6 to 10 months to really get it. And
Mhm.
when I got it, I still didn't get it. I was getting it, but I wasn't really getting it because my belly was still impacted. It takes time to really empty out the old stuff. And this breaks down a lot of the stuff inside the gut. It's taking out mucoid plaque. It's releasing, it's helping your intestines do this peristalsis that is required to move the bowels and therefore also release stuff along the inside of the bowel wall, which is what happens is that the intestinal wall gets clogged with old fecal matter over years of eating the same types of food. This next move I'm going to do is called Agnisara. It is the same Uddiyana, but then it has 3 pumps, and it's slow and controlled. Watch.
Wow.
So that one is just moving Uddiyana in and out slowly and without breathing. This also is a breathwork exercise because it helps your lungs to absorb more inhalation. When you blow all the air out and you do that movement, you're actually on exhale. So your body is going to be like, what's going on? Where's my breath? I need oxygen.
Hmm.
You're trying to have a longer breath without any breath. And the only thing that's in there is what we call the tidal wave, which is a little bit of oxygen that's left in your breath so you don't die. But that is a breath work too. So it's going to be a test for your lungs, and if it's hard to do, then it's something that you should keep trying to do because it's going to make your lungs stronger, and your abs also will become stronger. And then this last one is another version of Agnisara, but it really helps to connect the middle abs, and this helps you to move your colon. It actually helps you to move the colon. So, I mean, you're moving the colon with the other ways too, but this is a little different, side to side.
Wow. Wow. Man.
There you have it.
Woo. Thank you. Wow. Oh my God, that is amazing.
And this is something that you're all able to learn. It's not beyond any of us. I have all body sizes, types, genders, ages doing this with me. Children and old people, like over 70.
Mm,
So it is possible that everyone can do this. It just doesn't look the same for everyone. And it's just a matter of feeling that movement. It's a matter of feeling how it affects you. And it's scary and it hurts sometimes. But, and someone said, you're so skinny that you look anorexic and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so I feel great, you
okay.
know. And I feel like it's really a great way to strengthen the core. Like, so when I had my daughter, I had a lot of body fat around the belly. Like, I'm already straight as it is, but I was even straighter because all the body fat kind of filled out my waist. And this is what, over the years, I contribute to, or I attribute to me losing a lot of the body fat in my stomach area.
Wow.
But the diet was the first. Diet is the key. Get
Yes.
the fat out of the diet so that all the animals, all the dairy, all of the carbohydrates, also complex carbohydrates, because the simple carbs, which are the fruits, they
Hmm.
feed you. They give you life. They make you feel strong. They give you energy to build muscle to maintain the little muscle you have. I don't have huge muscles, but I have a little
Yes, you have.
bit.
Yes, you are fit at 52.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
look amazing. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I'm trying to get people to the keep their responsibility in the role for their health. I mean, we will always say, I don't have time.
Hmm.
I'm working. You have time to work, you have time to sleep, you have time to eat, you don't have time to work out. so
That is crazy.
and
Yes.
so what I find for me personally, since I teach a lot. I know I'm doing the practice with my students, but it's not the same when I'm not doing it by myself. So I do 20, 30 minutes, an hour sometimes, but I do small amounts throughout my day. Every day I do something that is energetic in a way that works something in my body. I may stop all of a sudden and do like 20 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
I may challenge myself and balance on one leg and do the other leg and do a little twist and stretch a little bit, and then I'm done. It doesn't have to be a whole session is what I'm saying. You have to figure out what can you do right now that is exercise. And sitting here doing Uddiyana is exercise. I could be sitting here right now and there's something called mula bandha, which is this muscle inside your perineum area that you pull up. It's your
Hmm.
Kegel exercise. You could be doing that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
There's all kinds of things that we just have to be ingenious about, trying to be creative about finding ways to implement a little movement and activity. And how can you make yourself sweat? Sweating is vital for healing. And
Hmm.
I'm not talking about sitting in a hot room. I'm not talking about sitting outside in a hot sunlight. I'm not talking about that. You have to sweat through movement. You have to create movement. That is how we get the toxicity out of the cell.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're just losing water. We don't want to just lose water. We need water. We want to absorb water. We don't want to be dehydrated. And that's what happens a lot. We're just dehydrated because our cells are not absorbing water. And that's what does. Because
Mm-hmm.
the fruit pulls the water into your colon, and your colon is where your body absorbs water. That is where it absorbs water. If you're never eating food with water in it, then your colon has nothing to absorb but salt and oil.
Wow.
So the kidneys are filtering out the water. They're getting rid of water. They're not helping us absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why we have to eat more water. And when you start eating more water, we end up losing a lot of body fat. We end up losing oils. We end up losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I have clients that have come for 30 days because I'm also a detox consultant. And I've had someone stay here on a few occasions, and either between 2 weeks up to 3 months, and they've lost an average of a pound a day. So if you think about 30 days, that's 30 pounds in a day, in a month.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody says, "Oh, that's unhealthy." I said, "Well, it could be unhealthy, but it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that you can do to have unhealthy weight loss, yes. But the way I do it, nothing unhealthy about it. None of my clients have ever ended up in the hospital, have any problems, need medication. Nothing severe has ever happened. In fact, they're pooping more. They have more energy. They're sleeping better. They have less brain fog. They can focus. They're making money. What are you talking about?"
Wow. Wow. That's great. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is for me a passion, and my passion really became my occupation. You know,
Mm-hmm.
over the years, I was just trying to heal myself, and I learned from that. And I'm just taking what I learned and I'm teaching it to others. And I have people who came with cancer who were told from their doctors that they're going to die in the next year, less than that. I have family members who are following my pathway and they're still alive after being told that they're about to die. So,
Wow.
and I'm talking about 8 years later, 10 years later, some of these people have been around working with me. So I just know that this lifestyle can change your health for the long term, and it can take the most rarest disease and give you hope.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's beautiful. Yes. Wow. I did have a question about how can a person begin to heal, and I think you heal their gut. Um, I know you answered some, you answered that pretty much, but if you have something else to add.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. I always love to tell people about asparagus. There are a lot of vegetables out there that get a lot of attention, and asparagus isn't getting enough, in my opinion. When I started to consume that, I started to see how wow it was for my gut. So
Mhm,
I don't overcook it. You take 5 to 10 stalks of asparagus, the green one. You take off about a half inch of the end because it's too hard, and
mhm,
then I blanch it. I'll
mhm,
put boiling water. I'll drop it in for 45 seconds to 1 minute, no more, and take it right out. Maybe squeeze some lemon juice, but then eat it like that. Maybe I'll have it with tomatoes, cucumbers, avocado together, and I may still have black rice. I love black rice. I cook that with coconut milk and some scallion and onions and rosemary, basil, seasonings like
mhm,
that. And it's amazing with the asparagus and the tomato avocado. That's a nice little meal. I definitely find I'll have that more often. I love red bean soup also. I make ital pea soup where it's red peas and some cardamom peas and some black kidney peas. Black peas or not, it's like black peas. I can't remember the name of it. And I put them together. I kind of pressure cook the peas first,
mhm,
and then I'll put that with onions, scallions, and then some potato and some boniato, some yam and chocha. So I'll use root tubers. I love those carbs. I think that, I mean, that to me is human food because all it requires is boiled water. And I mean, maybe that's where the fire comes in handy again, bringing life to food.
mhm,
So that's once inedible because you can't eat it raw. And I mean, people have said you can eat it raw, but I don't think it's healthy to eat that way raw. I think that certain things should be cooked, and the potatoes, for example, root tubers and ground provisions should
Mm-hmm.
be cooked. And I think they're easy to for us to actually digest. We
Mm-hmm.
just have to chew well and make sure they're cooked well. Because the same thing with beans. I'm noticing I go somewhere and I have something with beans. The beans are hard. I'm like, this isn't cooked. How can you be serving that?
Yeah.
Beans should be soft. It
Mm-hmm.
should be soft to the bite. It should not be al dente. It's not pasta. And pasta is not even a real food. Okay,
Yeah.
this is just another man made food. I
Yeah.
love me some pasta in the past, but even the noodles,
Mm-hmm.
get it out of the diet, guys. I mean, I was so addicted, and it's all that MSG and all those ingredients in that little powder packet there that you
Yeah.
put in the soup. But asparagus, 5 to 10 stalks a day is what I found was amazing for me and my daughter. I started doing that when she was like 3. So
Mm-hmm.
we've had asparagus as our staple, and it pulls out at parasites. It cleans the colon wall. It's a colon scrubber. You have to chew it well, and the quantity is essential. Minimum 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the minimum 5. And every day having a little bit is going to be a great way to keep your bowels going, keep your bowel. And it's not about stimulation to make you rush to the bathroom. It
Mm-hmm.
is over time. It is the next morning that you'll wake up and you'll have this urge. That's when we should have the urge.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found is that when people go through the fruit fast and the diet, they'll start having 2 to 3 movements a day. And they're like, "Yay, I'm having 2 to 3 movements a day." I'm like, "Great, now hold it until next tomorrow morning." What? No. You have to retrain your colon, because what happens is they're having 2 to 3 during the day, and then in the morning they're not having one.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing is off. And what I realize is the more that after we sleep at night, 6 to 8 hours of sleep. When you wake up, you should have a very strong urge to go. If that is not happening, then we have to work toward that. And that is what I found to help many or most or all of my clients, is that they've now created a morning routine. So they're not running to the bathroom during the day. You're not running to the bathroom at night or in the middle of the night, which has happened to many people I know. I have elderly clients that have come and said, "Oh my God, I pooped myself last night in bed." I'm like, what? So during a massage, this guy's telling me this is what happens. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, what? I'm like, okay, you need a detox, sir. He's like, what's that? I'm like, okay. And I took him for 8 months. I helped this man for 8 months, and he is stronger. He lost 45 pounds because he was
Wow.
overweight, and he is muscles. He works out in the gym now. He wasn't doing any of that before. So
Wow.
his whole life has changed. And now he's like, "Oh, I have a picture for you." Because I have my clients show me the bowel movement pictures, because I have to see what is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not looking at, you don't even know what you're looking at or what you're looking for or what you should be looking for, first of all,
Yeah.
because no one's ever taught you. So
Right.
don't tell me that you know what you're looking at. Don't tell me that your poop is okay, because
Right.
you don't know what okay is. That's
Right.
how I look at that.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Man.
Oh boy. I think I went off track somehow.
Oh, no, this is amazing because this is what we need to hear, and you guys need to connect. We all need to connect with her, and get the consultation. And
Oh, there is something happening though. On February the 3rd and the 4th, I will be in Australia doing a day retreat for
mhm,
2 days. Now, the days here in this time in Florida or in the States is different. It's going to be like on a Friday evening from 7 p.m. to about 1 a.m., 6 hours. And then Saturday is even worse. It's much later. It's like 11 p.m. to 5 a.m., but it's recorded. So the thing is, it's available online also, so
okay,
that anyone who is in my For the Love of Fruit group on Facebook has, um, you know, those are the members I'm pretty much offering the special to right now.
mhm,
And if you are not a member of For the Love of Fruit group on Facebook, you can go over on Facebook, check that out. And that's where I have my group where I offer my free service. It's my not-for-profit business. That's where I give away, a lot of information.
mm,
And for this particular thing, I'm offering 150 off, I think is what the special is, a 150 off. So that means it would be, oh gosh, I think it's 150 for the actual whole 2 days. or the recording, whichever you're
Mhm.
able to do. And
Mhm.
you have access for 48 hours to the recording. So,
Mhm.
this is something that I'll be teaching a yoga class so everybody can actually do some physical work with me. And then we'll be doing a smoothie demonstration. And then we'll be having a break to eat some fruits and talk about some, what we're eating and so forth. And then there'll be a little bit of Reiki as well. And Reiki is by my assistant, Candy Chinway. And also the following day, we're doing self massage. I'm going to teach people how to massage themselves. I mean, and in massaging yourself, you can massage your spouse, your daughter, your husband, your father, your mother. If you know how to use your hands, you can help everybody. And I just think we are just so we don't even realize how powerful our hands are. We underestimate what I wanted to say, our hands. All
Mhm.
we doing is writing, picking up stuff, holding a phone, complaining in our comments,
Mhm.
with our fingers. We're just complaining. Do something useful with your hands, people. Help
Yes.
yourself. Touch yourself. It's
Mhm.
okay, and know how to do it and when to do it.
Mhm.
And let's see, what else is there? And the group detox. So there'll be a group consult, a group detox, and I will be, offering protocol, telling people what they should do for 30 days to help them get themselves on track for the rest of their life. Because detox shouldn't really end. I mean, the way I do detox is to get you to eat a certain way to address your food addictions, to help you overcome those addictions, and to create new ones so
Mhm.
that you can take with you for the rest of your life. It's not just for 30 days. This is the beginning of a journey.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things is people think, oh, I can do this for 7 days and be better, or 21 days, or 3 months, I should be fine. Oh, my knee's been hurting me for 8 years, but I'm still, it's been 8 weeks and my knee still hurts on this fruit fast. I'm like, it's going to take you another 7.5 years. Okay, just think of it that way.
Yeah.
You have to think that you're in it for the long term. Don't get tired of the food.
Mhm.
That's why there are so many fruits, because we have to have choices and options because we get bored. I know
Right.
people eating grapes or watermelons for 40 days. I'm like, how the hell you do
I know, right?
that?
Yeah.
I have one person who just did it for 100 days on grapes.
Wow.
I'm like, God bless you, but you need some yellow, you need some green, you need some other colors in your diet.
Mhm.
Okay. And if you expect to keep living a long life, you need to mix it up because
Mhm.
we get different nutrition from different sources of food. And every color has a different set of amino acids. So
Mhm.
when you bring them all together into your gut in the same day, your body is able to synthesize and create protein that your body needs for muscle contraction, for stretching, for ability to grow, for having strong bones, for
Mhm.
functioning of the organs, for eyesight, for hearing, for taste buds, for sense of smell. We need all of these colors. It's not just one fruit at a time. Now, during a detox, well, I may say to you, do a 3-day pineapple fast. That's going to help kill your parasites.
Mhm.
But then I want you to go back to eating some mixture of fruits, salads, you know. Uh, it's just sparingly come back to the foods that you know aren't healthy. Sparingly. I want to teach you how to adjust your addiction. I want to change your craving. And when we have a craving, by the way, we have it because we have a parasitic overgrowth. 100% believe that it's my parasites that are eating my food, why I'm always hungry.
Mm.
If
Wow.
I have no parasite overgrowth, I
Mhm.
don't get hungry. I
Mhm.
am not hungry now, and I've only had, a pomelo, a couple slices of pomelo, and what did I have? Strawberries. That's it.
Mhm.
I should be hungry. A normal person would say, oh, I'm starving. It's almost noon or whatever time it's afternoon. I need lunch. I
Yes.
don't feel that way anymore. I remember the days of feeling hungry.
Mhm.
That is completely connected to an overgrowth and itching and skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, itching, rashes, allergies. Also, guys, when you have an allergy that you have a rash suddenly, it is a parasitic overgrowth, and that fruit that you're trying to eat that causes that rash is trying to help you. Don't be afraid of it. But at the same time, there's other ways to getting there to clean out the parasitic environment so you can have that fruit eventually without feeling, you know, a bad reaction. The real reaction I would avoid is closing of the throat, If something causes your throat to close, don't worry about eating that thing right now. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to think about it. Because some people have reactions like that to pineapple. But I have a lot of information. I'm a pineapple queen, guys. I've been teaching how to cut pineapple, how to pick pineapple, how to ripen pineapple, how to when to eat it, and how to make sure that it doesn't cause mouth burns, stomach burns, throat issues. It has to be fully ripe and it has to be picked at the right time. Most of our pineapples aren't even picked at the right time. So some of these issues are going to still bother us. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to know how to ripen it, how to handle the fruit, how to make sure you don't mix the slime from the skin on the actual knife with the actual fruit when you're slicing it, because that slime is poisonous. That slime is what people are allergic to. And the seed also can cause the same reaction because the bromeliad plant is a poisonous plant, and this is the only fruit that a poisonous plant produces.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Wow.
I said that all in one sentence.
That's some good teaching there. Thank you for sharing that. I think your assistant is here. Shinwe.
Candy,
Oh,
candy, yeah, Chinwei,
Shinwei. Shinwei. See,
Chinwei.
I would say we. This
Yes,
American.
yes, there she is.
Oh yeah, I've been posting whatever she put. She been putting things that you're gonna be doing your
Beautiful.
Australia conference or demonstration. Wow.
Awesome.
Wow, this is amazing. I'm enjoying. Oh, like I can do this all day. this this is good. I have some more questions. I don't know. I normally try to just do an hour.
Yes, let's see if the question can be answered quickly.
No, no, it's not. Okay, I know. I heard you talk about uh, train your body to get up about I think 5:30 every day to eliminate. Um, And how many times should a person do that as well? How many times should a person have a bowel movement?
Yeah, so my goal is bowel movements once a day in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can have a full movement in the morning, then you won't need or feel the urge to go again a second or third time. That is what is happening with most people that go 2 and 3 times a day, is because their first movement is inefficient. It is incomplete, and they have only had a partial movement. So once a day has been what I realized is we're capable of, because we are grown adults. We are not babies. Babies, on the other hand, go every single time they eat. They
Mm-hmm.
poop. They eat, they poop. They eat, and
Mm-hmm.
then they poop.
Yeah.
We are not children, so that should not be happening. But during a healing crisis, during a moment of getting there, that
Mm-hmm.
will happen. You can have two or three. Eventually, you'll catch up to the point where you will only go once a day, which is going to be great, because that one movement should be so powerful that it's as much as your arm. And you are going to have no reason to have another release until the following morning. That is the main thing about having movements. And what I found out after doing my research is that small intestines is where a lot of digestion happens.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hormones are released, digestive enzymes actually are released into the small intestines to break down foods that have not completely gotten digested during in the stomach or in the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's important to start here. But uh, once it gets into the large intestine, which is 23 feet, all right, two of your arms is actually, if you just hold out both your arms, this is half of it.
Oh wow.
Both of your arms is half of the length of it, but because it's a muscle, it contracts, it shrivels up,
Mm-hmm.
but it can stretch out. And that's how we get the distended stomach. For those who have a stomach, but they're skinny everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you have severe impaction. So most times there is some people who don't have a distended stomach, but they're also impacted. And how you can tell is because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Stomach is hard, and they'll say, "Oh, it's my strong abs." I said, "No, it is not. Abs do not feel like that.
Wow.
Abs are pliable. They are not hard. So you can push through that. So
Mm-hmm.
what is behind your abs? Okay. Now, the the size, the actual shape, right? The shape of the colon is end up. It's up on the right side,
Hmm.
across transverse, and then they're descending colon. That's how much we want to release in one sitting.
Hmm.
So but most of the time we're only releasing that one part.
Yeah.
Okay. So repeat your question. Let me see something. Repeat your question.
Um, it was how many times should a person go? You answered that. Um, and the time, because I heard you say
Yes,
about 5.
5:30 a.m. So
Hmm.
the thing about the morning routine is that I found there is an internal clock I learned from Chinese medicine, and there are certain hours of the clock that the body has its regeneration time or its prime function time.
Hmm.
And the adrenal glands regenerate and recover during your sleep at 10 p.m. to midnight.
Hmm.
Those 2 hours are vital. Most people are awake. All
Yeah.
right. Most people are up and they are suffering every morning getting out of bed, or they're drained. There's thyroid issues, there's reproductive issues, there's circulatory issues, and then they don't think about the fact that they don't rest and recover the adrenals because the adrenals are in control of all those systems.
Hmm.
Adrenals is what sends the signal to shoot hormones to get all these systems to function. Now, the other thing is that the large intestine functions its peak, its strongest between 5 7 a.m.
Wow.
So, if you're asleep between those hours, dead asleep because your adrenals are weak and you just don't even feel your stomach contracting, you're going to sleep through your main time. And then you're going to get up later and then you have to push or wait, or you're like just making a little little piece come out. And I'm telling you, because I know it. I've been there. I've done that. You
Mhm.
know, I understand completely what happens when this happens, and so there is the stomach does this contraction at 5:30. It's usually around the sunset time, but everywhere is different in the world nowadays with all this crazy weather stuff going on. So you
Mhm.
can't look at the sun anymore. Look at your clock and look at your schedule. And I know many people that are actually working at 5:30, so they don't have the same. It's hard when you're working at night. I just hope that someday whoever works at night works in the day and sleeps at night.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of my wishes for
Mhm.
people who are on the schedule where they have to work at night. And
Mhm.
so their whole clock is upside down. And I really know that it's hard to maintain good health when that is their lifestyle. I
Mhm.
don't know too many I don't know any that have good health with that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, and that's when medications and suffering come into play.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get people from suffering. I'm like, you need a new job, you
Yes.
know. And I've had so many kinds of jobs, and I had to change jobs until I found something that wasn't causing me suffering,
Mhm.
you know.
Yes.
So it's 5:30 to 7. 5 to 7 is a great time to set your alarm clocks to wake you up. Just go to the toilet. Start a new habit. Wake up, sit on the toilet, wait for 10, 15 minutes. It shouldn't take that long. It should happen right away.
Mhm.
But if you're not going already at that pace, at that time, at that strength, then you have to build it up. So you have to create a habit first to just simply wake up. Most of us are sleeping. So the key is to wake up. And that's my tip for you today.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. I am one that partially, because I go 3 times a day.
Okay.
So yeah, I gotta work on that. Wow.
Okay. Yes, and it's reachable. You can do it. And I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you whenever you want any information. Please find me on For the Love of Fruit group.
Okay.
And I
Definitely.
also have a website, heal.me. If you put in my name, Pele Chen, it will pull up my profile as a practitioner there. If anyone wants to connect to make a private massage or yoga class or a detox consult. And I sell crystals, crystal store.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
a,
have your I have your information in the description down below.
okay,
I just thought about your
thank you.
chat because I saw one in the background earlier, and you was like, "No, you're not going outside." I just thought about that. I don't know.
Yes, 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 Pepito, my little boy. Thank
Wow.
you so, so much for having me. What a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you. We enjoyed this. My 13-year-old over here has been inspired as well.
Oh,
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. So, yes, thank you.
happy I can be of service until we meet again, Bernice.
Yes, and we got to connect. I'm going to connect. I'm contact you and we'll see what we can do since we're not too far from each other.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I hope to see you soon. All
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day, everyone. Until next time.
Yes.
Let's see, what does this shirt say? May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Loka
Yes.
samasta sukhino bhavantu. Namaste.
Ooh, namaste. Yes, that was beautiful. Thank you guys for watching. A thousand roses to you. Love yourself first because you are worth it. Peace.